as we bring into spiritual acuity here, similar sort of six human needs on there. I want to link it to this, which is the five whys. And I'm not going to go into this really deeply, but it's really simple. You just keep asking why. I personally prefer the so what approach. It's got a little bit more of a ruggedness to it. So what? Like, why is that
Harsh.
important? It's harsher, right? But you're asking so what or why enough times to actually get to the reason. So if someone says to me, something, something, something is my one thing, and I'm like, why? So what? Like you're just testing it to find out if that's what it is. And we're not looking for your whole life's purpose. It just means in 12 months, honestly, if you were to look back, what would have made this a successful year? You do that for the next 10 years, you'll have a very, very incredibly different life. Incredibly different life.
Yeah.
And especially when you do it with people that are also doing it and supporting you along the way.
I think a good example is people always say, I want to earn X amount of money this year, right? And it's got all this month, this amount of money per year. But make more money is not as strong as I'm going to buy my parents the home that they could never buy themselves, or I'm going to retire my partner before they have to ask, or it just becomes, we just kind of fall into it, or being the first person in your family to choose work instead of needing to do it, right? And that's the kind of example where you're kind of going layers deeper, that it achieves the same result. You just complete reframe and go deeper into the so what or the why of what you're doing.
And the big piece around all of this is light, warmth, candle, or whatever you want to view it as. But whether it is your own flame, which is the most important flame, whether you're passing a candle and giving it to others, or whether you're powering the grid, it's not about the size. It's not that powering a grid is better than tending to your own flame. You could argue there is no greater thing than to tend to your own flame. It's about what it represents. And we all need something that I was going to say drives us, but that's too powerful. That's too big of a word. We all need something which inspires us, which moves us, which gives us the reason for doing. And some people can spend their whole life like chasing the powering of the grid, but it's just ego. And I remember there was a time for me where I was like, I want to help 10,000 people. Why 10,000? What's that? Who said 10,000? Where's that coming from? It's not genuine. And actually, what I needed to do was this. I needed to learn to receive. Because how can you give if you can't receive? Right. So whatever it is, these are the things that start to make the biggest difference. And you can spiritual whitewash it, you can call it whatever you want and mask it off and say it's not important, or you can say I'm already doing it. But then the real question becomes, are you? And if you are going to brush it off as some spiritual pot wash, then what keeps you going? What's something that's greater than you? Because I have met a lot of millionaires. I know a couple of multi-digit billionaires, and all of them have told me stories of absolute emptiness when they had everything. And I still know some today that are not happy. I speak to them every year, and so they're just doing the same stuff. All they know is making money, which is what we call the accumulation mindset in the middle of strive. You're just making money. You already have
Yeah.
enough. As Richard said before, the difference between strive and thrive is not money; it's mentality. Yeah. Once you've got enough, the question is, right, go live. Oh no, I'll keep making money. Then you're just avoiding. That goes back to decision velocity. What's stopping you make that decision that you want? And so the lighting of the candle in any capacity is one of the greatest things we can start to explore.
Because all that means is you're kind of lighting a spark between you and someone else on a small basis. You don't have to have a huge amount of purpose, that spreads and to thousands and thousands of people, as Danny said. You never know what intention you can put behind any of your actions. It's just a small thing. It could be family, it could be strangers, but the impact is never small if it's felt large by one person. But you can start to think how you want to apply your one thing and what you do, and in within this framework, and it takes you outside of yourself, which is what you need to do, because you are an egoic being and you are going to get completely on your own way with every other of the six axes that we've got here, because you're so inside yourself that you can't see outside of itself. So it's just another way to kind of reframe the one thing, to kind of put it on a from a different perspective. Let's just say that. Okay, so that's the seven axes, and it's the seven kind of ways to kind of think about how you kind of go through, create your one thing, which ultimately gets to your next chapter. It is an assessment. We've beta tested it, but now everyone that's registered for this call, everyone that watches it back, gets access to it. You can make a little capture it on with the QR code there. But ultimately, you're going to be scored against those 7 areas, which are, as a reminder, financial clarity, time sovereignty, decision velocity, environment quality, relationship portfolio, focus singularity, and your spiritual acuity. And ultimately, we're trying to answer the question, which is, what is your one thing? What are you going to work on for the next 12 months? And you want to make sure that your next chapter is the best one. And this is one of the ways that we found through all the stories we've got, all the things we've accumulated, all the things we've done with Sovereign Soul with people. We know it works. And this is just a starting point.
And so everything that we have gone through on this call, you can throw into Claude, you can go and research, you can go on YouTube. We always make sure we give enough that people can go and do it amongst themselves. But it has been our experience, and it's probably your experience as well, that you most likely won't do it. And so if you want your hand holding, if you want to do it with people that have already done it, then we will be running this for I think it's in about 10 days' time. So we give enough
Yep.
time for this call to be viewed by some people who are asleep, unfortunately, at the minute, which is the Americas, unless they're crazy like me and get up at 4 a.m. So we give them time to do that as well. It's normally 197. It's a 2-hour workshop for members that are got a few members that are on this call anyway. We always do a preface because it gives context. When people come into it blind, it just takes it's nice to have the framework in your mind. Yeah, because then you're able to move through things better. Even just doing this call now, you'll ponder it at different times throughout the day. One of those 7 axes, tell you now, you know which one it is that you're not doing. Like the ostrich, the squirrel, the tortoise, and the peacock. We just know which one is predominantly us, right? And so the workshop's 197. It's going to be discounted to 97 for the next 24 hours. We will begin on time in about 10 days' time, and we'll move all the way through it. And we will guarantee you that if you just stay with us for that 2 hours, you will have completed the whole thing by the end. We've done this a lot of times with a lot of people. It's a full process that we take people through, and the results that we get and the comments and the thanks afterwards is because you have taken some time for yourself. Most of us will, at the drop of a hat, will give time to somebody else, but we spend no time working on us. Who's in your corner? Who is supporting you? And there is no one greater than that than you. That's what this workshop allowed you to do. 2 hours for your entire self, for your life, so that by the end of a year, middle of June next year, you can look back and say, wow, what a year.
That's the one thing. And the easy thing to do is to go and do the things you've always done, right, in the way they've always done them. And that's why the 7 axes is important, because you're going to find, if you did the assessment, you'll find out that you end up doing one of those things on the 7 axis, or you're not doing it enough, right? And the one thing is just, it's always about zooming out to be able to zoom back in, right? If you end up being very tactical and breaking you end up going in the wrong direction. You end up working on something that isn't going to be in service to the bigger picture, right? So we always find this tension in Sovereign Soul to zooming out and seeing what it is we actually want to achieve, to then go back in and zoom in and go, this is the right action we want to take. And we know it is because we understand exactly who we are, what are our blockers, and exactly understand that gap between, as we said at the start, with the financial, just using the financial analogy, where am I now? Where do I want to go? And we're just filling the gap in between. And this is the starting point as the blueprint for that.